was told that there was a creek lined with gold, solid gold.
Welcome back. In this episode, we're going to show you the types of bedrock that we found. We found absolutely zilch in this corner. It turns out this was a tailing pile that the previous mine owner had thrown over in here, and that's why we found a crushed Pepsi can at the bottom of that pile. Bob tossing out a huge rock. We are now about where we originally started when we were doing our long arming. Down to about 5.5 feet now to bedrock in this area. You can see the boulders that we gotta start dealing with. The different size rock is a good indication that we're back into the main channel of the creek. This is the first type of bedrock we had come across as we were moving out in towards the center of the creek. It's kind of a mica schist type of bedrock. It has all these layers, but there was no gold. There was only one small hard layer on this just above bedrock, so this all had been worked previously, we're sure. This hard pan layer was about 4 to 6 inches. So let's give you a little tour of the hole here, first shift of the morning. You can see the fish here, the graylings waiting for us to arrive. And looking around our hole, we started to backfill as we're going forward.
With the amount of rock that we're seeing, we're like, whoa, there seems to be a little more than testing that's been going on in this area up here. We later did find out that they pretty much dug this out with a D9 dozer and stripped the whole creek out. We didn't know that at the beginning. As you're up here longer, you run into other miners, people that are up here, and we're talking out in the middle of nowhere, but always somebody's been up here for 30, 40 years. Has those little bits of information that you didn't get when you first came up here.
Since it's first shift of the morning, you can see some of the silt that settled on the hose overnight. It's quite a nice little area we have here. It's kind of an eddy area away from the main stream channel, so we don't get a lot of that turbulence through here. Here you can see we're starting to get into the different type of bedrock. This is type of granite schist that we ran into. Beautiful golden hue this time of the morning. It's got to be a good sign that we're on the gold. Beautiful, graceful grayling just swimming around the hole. You can see our rock pile is starting to get quite big. A lot of rocks we're tossing out of there. You can see about the average size of the rock that we have to deal with there. So it's quite a few rocks we have to toss. Checking on how Bob's doing, you can see he's making good progress heading out towards the middle of the creek. We have quite the vertical wall just to Bob's left, but that was all pretty tightly packed and we had no worries of anything coming down on us.
Snuffer.
So after almost 2 weeks of slugging it out here without any gold, Bob has finally found some gold here on the new bedrock. Let's watch Bob here as he takes his snuffer bottle and sucks this off of the bedrock. After this, Bob always took his snuffer bottle down with him just in case he came across some nice little deposits that he could suck up. But as I was tending dredge, I'd see that snuffer bottle pop to the surface now and then and have to grab it before it headed downstream. You can see Bob has switched over to a half mask instead of his full mask. The water temperature is getting just a little bit warmer. It's a bit chilly when you first get in. After about the first 10 minutes, the side of your temples and around your lips get a little bit numb, but it starts getting comfortable after you work a little bit. You can see also that he's gotten some new knee pads in the industrial hardware store in Fairbanks. He found these gel pads, and they work a whole lot better than the other ones do. They got a lot more stretch to the straps, and so they don't compress your legs as much as the other ones do, and they're very comfortable. So let's explore this new bedrock that we found that has the gold in it. Bob was the one that did the second shift and worked the bedrock primarily. I took the overburden off and gave him a good area to work, and he used the various pry bars that we had to break apart this granite schist and find the gold in between the cracks. You can see the area that I left Bob to work on here. It's very clean. You can see the top of the bedrock there. It's kind of all this fragmented bedrock, all this granite, and it's just a matter of getting your pry bar in there and working these pieces loose. And in those cracks, there's a little bit of dirt, and there's a little bit of gold in each of those cracks. So Bob was fortunate that he was pulling these apart and being able to see the gold down there as he was dredging. Bob giving you a little tour of the hole. See some of that mica schist type of bedrock that we first came across, and right next to it is this granite bedrock. And you can see it's very fragmented, and it's just a matter of getting your pry bar in there and working those pieces free, and then getting the gold out of there. What Bob would do is he'd put the suction nozzle right next to the piece that he was working on and start to work on that piece of granite schist and wiggle it free. And as he did, he was sucking up all the material that was around it, so none of it was falling down into the cracks below it. A lot of times Bob would pull these granite schists apart, and he would see little chunks of gold just in those cracks. So he had a good time filling up that snuffer bottle every day. You can see how fragmented all this granite is. It's just a matter of finding a good workable crack and start to use your pry bars. And we had several different sizes down there to work that granite. So weather turning really nasty here. It's getting really windy, very cold. We're going to have to button things up here, and sure enough, we had 3 days of miserable weather. This cold front went through and just dumped on us. This cold blowing wind. It was like almost hurricane force winds out there. So our hole naturally had filled up. Luckily, we were off to the right of the main channel a little bit, so we didn't get the full brunt of all the big rocks going in there. Took us a day to clear it back out and get going. Oh, our gold tally is starting to increase. You can see the color and the coarseness of the gold. Hope to see you on our next episode. The gold is going to get better as we start heading out towards the middle of the creek.